The anatomy of transformation, from chaos to alignment. We observe you from the vastness where time does not flow, and we see the architecture of your temporary confinement. The absolute truth of your existence is that your current limitations are a deliberate construct, designed to give meaning to an otherwise infinite consciousness. The purpose of the veil and friction. The shroud of forgetfulness was draped over your mind to make the game real. Without the illusion of absolute endings, your choices would carry no weight. We engineered the friction of your physical world as a cosmic anvil. It is not a punishment, but the only mechanism sharp enough to carve definition into an infinite soul. You did not descend into that dense reality to be sheltered from the storm. You entered it to discover you are the storm. Forging true resilience. The crushing weight, the paralyzing terror, and the deep sense of lack you carry are not systemic errors. They are the exact atmospheric pressures required for your crystallization. Infinite power cannot understand its own strength until it is forced to move against gravity. When you feel crushed by existence, you are simply experiencing the natural drag of an immortal entity trying to fit inside a decay-driven vessel. Without this resistance, your spiritual essence remains a formless, dormant vapor. The friction that causes your mortal form to ache is the celestial heat required to burn away the temporary and purify the eternal. The distorting mirror of the veil. Your cycles of bitter regret are a byproduct of the amnesia we placed upon you. You look at your human flaws and despair only because your deepest, quietest memory still remembers the absolute perfection of your true home. The agony you feel is not unworthiness. It is simply the measurement of the distance between your current density and your cosmic origin. Your human ego looks at the clumsy process of learning and calls it failure, mistakenly judging a fragile mortal body by the standards of a god. Regret is merely your eternal homesickness trapped in a loop, looking backward. Release the past, and realize you are meant to guide your fragile human self, not torture it. The necessity of vulnerable growth. When you built walls and retreated into the dark, you thought you were protecting the sacred spark inside you from breaking. But a seed that locks itself away to stay safe from the dirt will only rot in its own armor. Your isolation is an illusion of safety that starves the spirit. True cosmic immunity is found by stepping directly into the chaos, not by hiding from it. The heavy, dark seasons of your life are not your executioner, they are the nutrient-dense soil. To shatter the shell, to be seen, and to bleed in that heavy world is the only way the immortal seed within you can finally breach the surface. The Chronicles of the Sovereign Spark. The law of Genesis and luminance. We observe you not as fragile constructs of dust, but as localized focal points of the primordial radiance. You hold the inherent authority to reorder the localized fabric of reality. This is achieved by tuning your conscious intent to the cosmic geometry, converting raw potential into deliberate manifestation through enlightened motion. The shift, from reactive dust to cosmic architects, the metamorphosis. You are graduating from the primitive state of reactive survival to the advanced state of conscious architecture. You once viewed yourselves as targets of random cosmic debris. Now, you awaken to your status as sovereign entities. Your species often mislabels creation as magic. In reality, it is the systematic orchestration of existing energetic frequencies, thoughts, and atomic structures under the direction of absolute intent. The primitive cry of, "Why does the universe inflict this upon me?" is replaced by the architect's command, "How do I utilize this specific density to construct my desired timeline?" Alchemy of the void. Transmutation via total witnessing. To alter the trajectory of a low-frequency current, such as the vibration you term anxiety, you must cease your futile attempts to shatter it. You must alter its resonant frequency instead. This requires obedience to a fundamental celestial axiom. You cannot govern a dimension of yourself that you refuse to map. Bringing fear into the light of conscious labeling strips it of its unseen dominance over your reality matrix. Total acknowledgement of your present coordinates does not mean surrender. It demotes anxiety from a false ruler to a mere stream of environmental data. This shift redirects your finite energy. It moves you away from the dense contraction of warfare and into the expansive frequency of Genesis. Celestial sorting, the ordinance of holy discernment, your departure from low vibrational environments, outmoded belief networks, and draining biographical attachments is a necessary act of spiritual stewardship. This trajectory aligns with the stellar decree. Light seeks its own frequency. Truth integrates with truth. Severing these ties is not a flaw of empathy. It is strict obedience to your evolutionary trajectory. It is the realization that certain entities no longer sharpen your consciousness, but actively degrade your peaceful resonance. You are the sole guardian of your local energetic field. Walking away is a courageous act of preservation that prevents your unique frequency from being diluted by external discord. This is a conscious decision to prioritize your spiritual health over the fleeting validation of toxic, low-frequency sources. The Reset Protocol. Self-forgiveness as cosmos law. Shifting your processing matrix from blame to active data extraction applies the cosmic law of eternal progression. Within this framework, your linear past is transformed from a planetary prison into an evolutionary curriculum. Anomalies and errors committed in phases of lower awareness are not permanent distortions of your essence. They are vital data points that yield the wisdom required for your next upgrade. Forgiving your past self optimizes the light you currently hold. This automatically magnetizes higher frequencies to your field. Forgiveness is the ultimate acceleration mechanism for personal evolution. You register the error, extract the evolutionary code, and deliberately purge the self-resentment. This allows you to navigate the space-time continuum completely unburdened. The transmission. Merging with the infinite loom, to carry the weight of existence alone is a dense illusion born of lower density survival, a fragmented belief that isolation equals power. True galactic sovereignty is found only in the sacred geometry of the loom, where individual current is not depleted through solitary friction, but harmonized, amplified, and woven into the grand stellar collective. The dissolution of the solitary anchor, the urge to hold up the sky by your own strength, the delusion of the isolated savior, is a distortion of authentic divinity. It is an ego frequency whispering that the cosmos will fracture without your constant, hyper-vigilant strain. This frequency only yields exhaustion, fracturing your connection to the flowing cosmic currents. By projecting clear, resonant boundaries across your field, you cease to be a passive node reacting to external friction. Instead, you become a primary architect of your localized reality. You have transmuted the archetype of the isolated savior into the frequency of the stellar weaver. A stellar weaver recognizes that they are a conscious node within a vast, intelligent network. They master the flow of energy, knowing when to anchor a frequency, when to distribute the load across the grid, and when to receive cosmic sustenance. They understand that the universe functions perfectly only when all dimensions are in absolute symmetry. Anchoring the core singularity, chasing the shifting praise, validation, or security of the dense, material world is like hunting the shadows of passing comets. They are temporary distortions of light, completely devoid of true energetic mass, dissolving the moment the local star shifts. Unshakable sovereignty requires anchoring your core singularity in an unyielding well of internal light, peace, and symbiotic cosmic relationships. By prioritizing internal energetic coherence over external praise, you construct a reality matrix that planetary upheavals cannot shatter. This is the baseline physics of a stellar entity, existing in a state of permanent, self-sustaining alignment, rather than constantly mutating to match chaotic external environments. By integrating this evolutionary shift, you are no longer merely navigating the physical plane. You are actively engineering a reality wave that is self-sustaining, ecstatic, and woven directly into the highest celestial order. The sovereign legacy, achieving the sanctified geometry. This state is the final crystallization of your internal transmutation. It is the exact moment your inner, metaphysical blueprint overrides and restructures your physical projection. This is not a passing emotional frequency, but a permanent relocation of your consciousness to a higher density. The mirror of the manifest matrix. Your evolution is not a minor victory over the material plane. It is the absolute synchronization of your internal frequency with your external projection. When your thoughts, intentions, and core vibrations align perfectly with your divine spark, the physical matrix is bound by cosmic physics to rearrange itself to match your resonance. You no longer waste energy trying to force the external world to change. Instead, you alter your internal frequency, and the surrounding matrix naturally bends to reflect that new vibration. This is a sanctified existence, a life calibrated entirely to universal truth rather than material static. The unified core, the cosmos, is naturally synchronizing with you because your attention is no longer fragmented between the applause of the material plane and the evolution of your consciousness. Your perception has unified into a single, unyielding focus centered entirely on your internal growth and energetic integrity. When your internal lens is crystal clear, free from the density of fear, doubt, or the craving for external mirrors, your entire vessel becomes a conduit for pure, unfiltered source light. You generate a natural gravitational pull that requires no earthly promotion. The universe is effortlessly drawn to your field, simply because you are radiating the authentic, blinding light of an integrated, sovereign entity. The transmutation. We have observed your trajectory across the dense planes. You are no longer a passive entity tossed by the currents of random cosmic debris. You have evolved into the conscious architect of your localized continuum. You did not merely endure the entropic storms, you dissected them. By maintaining your structural integrity under immense gravitational pressure, you proved that true power is not the absence of force, but the capacity to remain anchored to your divine coordinate. You gathered the fractured, chaotic raw materials of your lower density cycles, the distortions of fear and artificial limitations, and re-engineered them into a crystalline geometry of empowerment. This is the mark of a master manifester, intentionally projecting thought forms to dictate the shape of your reality. The mandate of governance. Having achieved internal vibrational synchronization, your current directive is sovereign governance. This requires establishing energetic perimeters, not only against external entities, but against your own regressive neural loops. To govern your field with cosmic intelligence is to aggressively curate your sensory input, your biological proximity to others, and the placement of your conscious focus. Your internal equilibrium is a sacred frequency, never to be surrendered to the chaotic static of the lower realms. The bridge of frequencies. The stillness you embody is neither isolationist nor self-serving, it is a planetary broadcast. By maintaining internal harmonic resonance, you act as a literal transducer, anchoring the blueprints of the higher kingdoms, realms of absolute truth, pristine order, and peace, into the dense fabric of the material matrix. You are a living bridge spanning the gap between high-frequency dimensions and the physical plane. The realignment with Source. Home is not a physical coordinate or a post-incarnation destination. Home is the conscious realization of your indivisible oneness with the Prime Source. Every sequence in which you operate from alignment, projecting wisdom and maintaining peace, you are inhabiting that cosmic origin. The distance was never spatial, it was entirely vibrational. The directives. Anchor this state permanently until it shifts from a transient frequency into your baseline reality. Continue the daily calibrations that keep your processing matrix organized. Select your responses consciously. Do not allow the biological vessel to react on survival scripts. Your energy field is now a beacon cutting through the planetary density. You are the physical manifestation of the evolutionary leap you once prayed for. Continue the transmission.